We all remember Beyond Scared Straight as one of the reality television series that got you hooked onto the screen. Although we haven't gotten another glimpse of the show since it last aired in September of 2015, as reality TV fans, we can't help but look back on some of the most intense and entertaining moments on the show. The show's premise follows a bunch of problematic teenagers who attend a program that attempts to rehabilitate them, or at least give them a taste of what life is going to look like for them in the future if they decide to not fix their ways. Sometimes, some of them need a proper taste of prison punishment to set them straight, and prison is no joke. These kids still manage to get a snicker or two out of you though. And that brings us to the topic of today's video. Welcome back to Film Top, and here we're with the top 10 most memorable moments on Beyond Scared Straight that either made you laugh or get angry. Let's not waste any more time and dive right in. Number 10. There's no permission slips for anything inside Maryland prison. When a teenager confesses to a fellow delinquent that she wants to effing stab the guard that was scolding them, he sensibly advises her not to say anything. And as they are taken into another room, they see a table covered in scary-looking homemade blades. One of the youngsters, clearly having seen one too many action films, makes a comment about needing a permission slip to carry guns, which is a stupid thing to say when you're in prison. And that's the story of how this iconic quote was born. Number 9. You're gonna trade? Trade with what? Life in jail is hard. All you have to your name is a plastic bag filled with necessities like a travel-sized toothpaste and an odd pencil. An inmate was telling a group of delinquents about such horrors of prison when one of them came up with an idea. You have to trade. And he said, as if it was the most obvious thing in the world, the only problem? A toothpaste for a toothpaste isn't what you'd call the best of trades. And in prison, that's all you got. The prisoner was quick to shut him up. Not the brightest tool in the shed, eh? Before we move on to number 8, make sure to smash that subscribe button to get more content just like this. Now, back to the video. Number 8. When the laughing is over, people like you cry. They cry. When it comes to giving a compelling speech, 6ix9ine is your man. This inmate at Lieber Prison sure as hell has what it takes to drive home a harsh lesson. Though you can't give him all the credit, surely when you have a reputation of being literal murderer, people ought to take you seriously. While he's giving a group of delinquents a self-respect lecture, he asked them, "Are you aware of what we do? We're the ones that shatter folks like you." Really gave us chills. Number 7. I've seen a grown man looking into another man's butthole. That line alone should be enough to make you chuckle. For the prisoners themselves, however, it's an entirely different story. This man was lecturing a bunch of youngsters about strip searches, and he does not hesitate to draw a vivid picture. It seems to do the job though, because the teenagers all look terrified. Number 6. You hear what he said? An inmate is giving the young delinquents a tour of a typical 2-person jail cell when out of nowhere, a prisoner screams through the opening of his cell door, "We want your little ass, get in my cell." This clearly frightens one of the teenagers, and the inmate asks him to repeat it just to drive home the point. Number 5. Do not hold hands. I know some of you want to do that. These police officers don't stop at just doing a complete search of the arriving teenagers at the gate of the prison. They decide to take it upon themselves to scare these kids shitless with their knowledge of what goes on inside the prison walls. The guard tells them to stand with their arms wide apart and not to hold hands even if they want to. Number 4. No, it's about you. It all starts when a prisoner is reading a newspaper clipping out loud to a group of youngsters about a child who was murdered in a drive-by in Washington, D.C. One of them interrupts him to ask a casual question. Is it the same kid who went to that school and had cornrows? What was the name of that school? That was his mistake. The prisoner is quick to loudly remind him that this was a jail and no one was his buddy here. Number 3. Nobody's going to hear you scream. Gooch is the most troublesome of prisoners in her jail, causing a scene whenever she let out her cell. When the delinquents are taken to see her, she goes into a lecture about how no one wants to be where she is, and if they continue down the same path, she'll see them soon. Number 2. You all belong to us. The technique they use to intimidate youngsters at Jessup's women's prison is a bit different. Each female has a prisoner standing in front of them, glaring and screaming in their faces, while other inmates speak to everyone, declaring, "You all belong to us." Number 1. What the police don't take from you, we will. What puts this particular moment at the top of the list is the fact that instead of being yelled or screamed, this line was said in a hushed whisper by a convict to a group of teenagers, which makes it all the more terrifying. That's all we have for you today. Let us know your favorite moment in the comments, and we'll see you guys next time.